Good afternoon, everyone. Today's story is a little bit different in that I took 10 random words rather than 5 random words, and I wrote 10 100-word paragraphs, and I thought there'd be 10 entirely different stories, but they actually, for some reason, formed themselves into one story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up the word for each section on screen, and then the 100 words that it refers to, and hopefully you'll enjoy this strange experimental little piece. This is called The Goddess and the Eunuch. "These are lovely," I said. Not given to outbursts of botanical admiration, my enthusiasm surprised Alex. The shiny green leaves of the hillside shrubs cupped delicate sprays of white flowers, which smelt like jasmine. "Drimys winteri. Taste a leaf," Alice suggested, plucking and offering one. I nibbled a corner, feeling a fiery warmth spread across my tongue immediately. Alice giggled. "They used to give it to sailors to ward off scurvy," she explained, as I spat out the foul-tasting liquor. "Are you trying to poison me?" I laughed. "Not at all," she replied, with a wicked glint in her eye. Once Alice took me to one of her favourite haunts, a taverna decked out like an old curiosity shop, its white arches decorated with bizarre and disturbing objects. Manacles, surgical appliances, a plague doctor mask, even shrunken heads, which grinned at us as we ate our tapas to the sound of sea shanties played as if from the bottom of oceans. "You're an unusual person," I said to Alice, something of an understatement. "Life is too short to waste in ordinary pursuits," she replied, before confiding, "I sometimes go for naked walks by moonlight." I hoped she'd invite me along. After our third glass of wine, I asked Alice what she intended to do, how she hoped to get revenge upon her attacker. She thought about it for some time, frowning with those delightful little lines forming across her forehead. "Success is supposed to be the best revenge, isn't it?" she said, looking unconvinced. "How about being tied up in a pit that waves wash over and slowly fill?" I suggested. "Knowing you would inevitably drown, but never knowing exactly when." She shook her head. "The sea is my friend. I'd never ask a friend to commit murder for me." He belonged to a gang, the man who had violated Alice. He thought the protection of his compatriots meant he was safe to remove his mask and let her see his face. He was wrong. Alice was afraid of nothing, not before, not during, and not even after her rape. She was a force of nature. The instant he caught up with her and pulled her into the dunes, his fate was sealed. I knew she would give it a great deal of thought. I offered to help, the police having made it clear the case was not a priority. We threw a fantastic party for my 40th birthday. I know everyone on this island, all the musicians, fishermen, saddlers, restaurateurs, weavers, and gangsters. I own the hilltop mansion, and I made it known that everyone was invited. We arranged enough food and alcohol to entertain the entire community. Of course, Alice's attacker came, being the eldest son of the island's leading drug lord. It was a masked ball. Alice came as Athena, complete with a bowl of olives and a snake. The snake had been trained well. Alice had overcome her fear of serpents, as she had all other fears. "I'm an omnivore," Alice as Athena declared to the massed throng. "I'll eat anything, but olives are my favourite. Catch!" She played a game of tossing olives into the waiting mouths of the guests. Arturo, the rapist, caught one in his teeth. "Well done, sir," she declared. "Now come with me and I'll let you play with my snake." I watched from the arches of the old orangery. He didn't recognize her at all and was very drunk. The sea raged below them as they walked the terraces. Arturo thought he was flirting with Alice. His weapon today was charm, not violence. Beneath her shimmering blue layers of chiffon and lace, Alice was nude. A thought that would have enticed me as much as Arturo, were I not in my condition. Eunuch is such an archaic term. I prefer to declare myself asexual. It shuts down most difficult conversations. Arturo had no such handicap. When Alice suggested he open the basket and wake the sleeping snake, Arturo did as she suggested. "Don't worry, he's defanged and quite harmless," she lied, having taken the antidote as a precautionary measure. When the adder coiled around Arturo's arm, Alice spoke the fateful and secret word, divinity. An appropriate word for a goddess to use to command the death of a mortal. The snake lunged, fangs dripping, sinking them into Arturo's neck. He staggered and toppled over a small hedge, landing amongst roses, thorns mimicking fangs. The snake hissed away into the underbrush, mission accomplished. I emerged from the cypresses, descended the many steps to where Alice crouched, removing her mask so that Arturo could see who had killed him. His look of startled horror will always stay with me. I'd never seen a man die until then, his eyes clouded like marbles in the dust. We ran to the house, making a show of alarm and anguish. A terrible accident! We showed everyone the fang marks we had prepared on Alice's forearms with the snake skull from the Taverna of Curios. Arturo's men rushed to his aid. They told me it was harmless, Alice wailed, heavy-hearted, comforted by guests. I rushed in, a doctor after all, to treat Alice's supposed bite. The mild poison she had ingested began to take effect, a fever that would break in days. I led her to her bedroom. Do you think we got away with it? She asked, perspiring now. While Alice dressed for travel, I dragged the chest from under the bed. Many knives, sharpened, arrayed fan-like. The tools of my other trade. Arturo's men would not be fooled for long. Guns were forbidden on the island. Men went to battle armed with blades, a point of honour as much as law. Unwed and not a father, I've had much time to practice bladecraft. Fever notwithstanding, Alice must now leave this place. I concealed knives upon my person and went to usher the guests away. Tonight we'd leave by boat, the goddess and the eunuch, adrift together, futures unwritten. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed that little tale of revenge and intrigue. I was very much led by the words in successive order as to how the story progressed. It was quite an interesting experiment. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and or watch another one and tell your friends, and I will keep going. I hope to hit 100 stories before I finish this project. We'll see. I also hope to have some more guest readers, possibly even guest performers. We'll see. But for now, farewell. See you soon.